stand. You're welcome to be seated. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you can hear me. I've been accused of being a little too loud more than once, but I'll try to project, and I apologize to Zach and Nikki for yelling in your ear, but I want you to hear some of this. First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Pat Lynch, and I'm a friend of Zach's, and feel terribly honored to have been asked to officiate at this marriage. We are all here, and we are all honored to be here to witness, to celebrate, and to support the marriage of Zach Marks and Nikki Solby. And that's important work. Let's all take it very seriously, what we're about to do here. And in that spirit of something rather serious, let's bow our heads for a moment of prayer. Heavenly God, we ask that you join us here in this place, this beautiful place where family is celebrated. We ask that you bless Zach and Nikki, bless Ryland and Raven, and all of those gathered here who are blending a family together to the honor and glory of those who have gone before them and those who will come after them. We ask, Lord, that you bless this ceremony. Amen. I'm going to invite my brother Tom Lynch to come up and offer a very brief reading. Tom? I was honored to be asked to do this, and like Uncle Pat, I'm delighted to be here and share this very special day with you. Pat said read a love poem, maybe, and Zach may have told some of you that Pat and I do funerals downstate with most of our families, and this poem is about a funeral I conducted, and but it was when the widow came in. The man who died, his name was Carlton. He was a farmer. He would have been very familiar with the territory and the season that we're in. He knew a lot about tractors and livestock. He didn't know an awful lot about weddings, to tell you the truth. When he got married, he bought one suit. He had it made for him of wool gabardine so that it would be good for all seasons, for weddings and funerals and anything else he had to go to. And they were married for 70 years until Carlton died. And Winifred brought in that wool suit that he bought 70 years before to marry her in and gave it to me to have him laid out in. And it has weathered the 70 years very well. And I said to her, can you give me the secret of your long marriage? Because, as you no doubt have figured out, getting married is fairly easy. Being married and staying married, now, there's some difficulty in that. And this is a poem called, she told me the secret, by the way, which is in this poem. I usually forget everything unless I write it down, so here it is. It won't take long. And you can tell your kids you went to a poetry reading today, which will make them fear you in ways that they don't currently fear you. The name of the poem is epithalamium, which is a Greek word for before the bedchamber. Apparently the Greeks never had sex until they were married. Right. That man who was married in the same black suit he was laid out in years later and buried, his widow's tears, they might all make sense to you now that the two of you are going to be married. You've seen old photos of the two of them, taken 7 decades back or more. They showed up smiling and said, of course we will, for better or for worse, and then they raised their glasses, cut the cake, and kissed and tossed the bride's bouquet and garter out and thanked their parents and assembled guests, then danced until the candles were all blown out, then danced some more. They were that enamored. And who could blame them? So nearly perfect in their flesh and finery and desires, in all ways poised and blessed in elect as you are now, and may you always be. Each of you eager to please the other, to let the selfish minute pass, to see yourselves perfected in each other. That old man, when he was young, he brought his bride home to the house he had ready for her, and swept her up and carried her inside, as was the custom then. And then together they helped each other out of their new clothes. His gabardines, her lace and satin gown, his tie, her veil, his buttons and her bows, then stood there looking at themselves, alone. Before they fell into their embracing, because they thought they'd need them in the end, they tucked their garments carefully away in cedar boxes underneath the bed. And when the going got a little tough, when patience frayed or tempers flared, when love seemed to have left them only filled with loss, as in all lifelong marriages it must, when forgiveness and forgetting seemed impossible, they'd kneel beside their bed and bury their faces in those wedding things. Her tears, his curses, her fears, his pride, her dread, all dried and muffled in that day's old raiments, which smelled of their sweet youth and promises. And though they never settled everything, they did their best to do the next best thing. Well, that's about all the message that we really need. But I'm going to add to it just for a minute, because it's my nature to do so. And what I want to share with you, Nikki, and with you, Zach, it's just a couple of things that I've learned along the way. One, a marriage is not a 50-50 deal. It's 100% deal. You give 100%, all the time, to each other. Second, that whole concept of never go to bed angry, it doesn't work. You're going to go to bed angry once in a while. It just happens. Try not to wake up. Start the new day. And then there's that idea of the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I think for marriage, the platinum rule works better. And the platinum rule is, do unto others as they would have you do unto them. Do what she wants. I mean, that's a key element, I think, for each of you. Find out, and I'll speak to you because I think we struggle with it more. You need to understand, and you fellas will concur with me in here, we learn this stuff as we go. They're smarter than we are, Zach. They have better memories than we do. Don't forget that. And they almost always live longer than we do, so you're not going to win either way. So here's the key. Find out what she wants and give it to her. More importantly, try to discover what she needs. That's altogether different from what a want is. It's a need. Find out what she needs. Try to give that to her too. And you do the same for her. And that will help make it a beautiful time spent together. Not without its struggles, not without its disappointments, but in the long run, when it's all said and done, and you analyze it, it will be a glorious and a beautiful and a blessed thing for each of you to have experienced. You follow those simple little things. And here's the key that I think is as important as any of it. And that is, know that I don't have all the answers. Tom, in his wisdom, doesn't have all the answers. There's not anybody in this room that's got all the answers. Because the answers are yet to be discovered for each of you. My father-in-law was widowed. He was about 85 years old
and his wife had died a couple of years earlier, and I said to him one day, as my wife was becoming more and more like her mother, his wife, and that happened. I said, Dad, how did you do it with all those years? And he looked at me, and he had this kind of a twinkle in his eye like an Irishman gets, and a big smile on his face, and he said, "You'll figure it out." That was the best advice I ever got. Don't ever stop trying to figure it out, and you'll be successful. Won't you join your hands? We're going to recite the vows now. I'd like you to repeat after me. I, Zach, take you, Nikki, to be my wife. From this day forward, I promise to be true to you, in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. I, Nikki, take you, Zach, to be my husband. From this day forward, I promise to be true to you, in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. The ring? Repeat after me, Zach. Nikki, take and wear this ring as a sign of my love and fidelity. Zach, take and wear this ring as a sign of my love and fidelity. It's my distinct pleasure now to pronounce you based upon your vows to one another, your exchange of rings, and your promises. Pronounce you husband and wife. May you live long together in health and prosperity.